It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, you have found me on a Masterpiece Friday. It is the end of a work week and we are going to have a lot of fun listening to some music by Steely Dan today. It's been too long since I listened to music from this band and we're going to their classic album, Asia. Today will be the start of my full album reaction to this classic album. We're going to be listening to all of side one, and I am excited that you are with me. So I've only reacted, y'all, 3 times to Steely Dan previously on the channel, and I think that that's way too low of a number. So today, we're doing this with Asia, y'all, and we're going to be listening, like I said, to all of side one. That includes 3 songs: Black Cow, Asia, the title track, and Deacon Blues. So previously on the channel, this is what we've been up to. We've heard Do It Again and Kid Charlemagne, and I have heard the title track from this album. I heard Asia back in October of 2021, and I remember their harmonies being so sophisticated and so jazzy and so effervescent and tight and sublime. It was just a lovely experience, and I really wanted to come back to this album. It's been suggested that I get to it, and I decided now's the time, and I'm happy, like I said, that you're with me for this. So Asia is the band's 6th album. They released it in the fall of 1977, and it is still, to this day, their most commercially successful album in their discography. This recording is a true celebration and a melding of jazz and pop sounds, and the album won the Grammy for Best Engineered Recording Non-Classical. So not only are the people playing the instruments and doing the singing at the top of their game, so are the engineers and the producers and everything. It's really a high point of this style of music. Band leaders Donald Fagen and Walter Becker assembled about 40 of the best session musicians that were available at the time for this album. Each track has a different lineup of these top-notch musicians, and that's something that I don't know if I've ever seen from a regular pop band or a rock band or a prog band within the same album. So they're really, I mean, it's these 2 guys, it's Donald and Walter, and they are gathering together all of their best friends and peers, and it's a celebration of really, really great music. So as I look at these 3 songs, I don't think that I've ever heard Black Cow. Of course, like I said, I've heard Asia before here on the channel, and I very much look forward to hearing it again, getting another shot at it. And Deacon Blues is also one that I recognize, I think from the radio, but the only thing that comes to mind when I think of this song is just the hook. Call me Deacon Blues. And that's about it. I did the read-in, and I figured out what the song's actually about, and that's going to be interesting, and I want to be reminded of all of what's in there, so it's going to be a fun time today, y'all. I am eager to get into these 3 songs, but before we do, I would like to welcome Manta Sleep as a sponsor of today's video. I have been enjoying my Manta sleep masks for a few months now, and they're a real game changer with the quality of my sleep. I really love these. I have 2 of them, actually. This one is the Manta Sleep Pro model, and it has these really great eye cups in them. These C-shaped eye cups that allow space so you're not messing with your lashes or your eyelids, and they actually can come off and reattach with the Velcro if you need to custom tailor it to your face shape and size. I'm going to take my glasses off so you can see. It's real easy to put on, friends. You just put it right there, and it's got Velcro right on the back, and it adjusts to whatever size your head is. Easy. And so right there, 100% blackout. I could go take a nap right now and be better for it. Meg tells me I look like Spider-Man in this, which is pretty cool. This one is the sound version. It's got the same C cups on the inside and the same basic mask, but it's got this outside part here with these speakers, these Bluetooth speakers that are built in. There's a little spot right behind the front here where you can plug it in to your computer and charge it and connect it via Bluetooth to your phone or whatever device that you're streaming some audio from, and put on your favorite song or some meditative sounds. It fits the exact same way as the other one. And the great thing about these, with the way they're designed, is you can sleep on your side. If you're a side sleeper, these can work for you, right? I love these even in the early part of the mornings when I've woken up and it's kind of light outside, but I want to sleep a little bit more. I can put one of these on and go to 100% blackout, and it calms my mind, and it helps me to go to sleep very quickly and get back to sleep and have a better sleep experience. I really do enjoy these. So I am encouraging y'all to visit the Manta Sleep website. You can use the link in this video's description and get a 10% off discount for your order. You can also use the discount code The Daily Doug as you check out to get your discount. A better night's sleep is just a few clicks away, thanks to Manta Sleep. Okay, y'all, with that said, let's get into the music, shall we? Side one starts with the song Black Cow, and apparently the black cow that is referred to in this song is basically a root beer float that usually has bourbon or Kahlua in it. I've never heard of a root beer float called a black cow before, but it makes sense to me. It's dark and it's got dairy in it, so why not, right? So in the song, it has our narrator singing about his girlfriend, specifically her character and her habits that are leading to their breakup. And he basically tells her to have a Coke and a smile and get out of here, but the Coke is a black cow instead. So it's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to hearing this one for the first time. Donald Fagen is on lead vocals and synths. Paul Humphrey is on the drums. Chuck Rainey on bass. Victor Feldman on the Fender Rhodes. Joe Sample is on the clavinet. Larry Carlton is our guitarist. Tom Scott on tenor saxophone. Then Clyde King, Vanetta Fields, Shirley Matthews, Rebecca Lewis on backing vocals. So let's get started, y'all. Here is Steely Dan with Black Cow. Off we go. Oh. Little funk there. Little high C up in the top. It's gonna be a fun time.
In the corner of my eye, I saw you in Rudy's. You were very high. You were high.
You were high, y'all.
It was a crying disgrace.
Wow.
They saw your face on the counter.
Back home,
By your key
they're over a sea.
was a book of numbers and your remedies. One of these surely will scream.
It's gonna be way too hard to keep up with these guys by ear.
Tomorrow, I can't cry anymore.
This is the chorus.
Break away, just when it seems so
Every one of these chords
that it's over.
has a seventh in it,
Drink your big black
or
cow
more.
and get
Drink your
out
big
of
black cow and get out of here. Just moving seven
down the
chords.
Green Street. There you go, looking so outraged, and they tell
Love
you
it.
so. You should know how all the pros play the game. You change your name like a gangster on a run. You will stagger home, your precious one.
Similar to what they did last time through.
Who must make everything right? Talk it
Resolves
out.
down, those dominant sevenths that resolve down by half step. Gotta be tritone substitutions. And they get back to A. for the chorus.
Break away, just when it seems so clear that it's over now. Drink your big black cow and get out of here.
Ooh. Okay. Up by step. Look at it's amazing the voicings that they do. I know just enough jazz to be dangerous, y'all.
I can't cry anymore.
Another chorus.
Break away,
Six,
when it seems so clear
5, then
that
flat
it's
5.
over
It-
now. Drink your big
Stop trying to do that, Doug.
and get out of here.
Curious as to what's happening in this ear. There's a low instrument in there that's got a lot of color. There's our saxophone. It's got a commercial pop sensibility, but it's got all the sophistication of a great jazz track. And you can't separate the two. They're so well intertwined. It's a true hybrid and something that's rising above the sum of its parts. It's really, really, really a fun song. Black Cow. And I love the quality of their vocals too. It's not a vocal quality that I would expect to be moved by and love hearing. It's a relatively nondescript vocal color. It doesn't have a lot of bloom on it and timbre to it. It's relatively pliable, right? If they were in a choir, I would call them glue voices. They would fit together with other people that might have more bombastic or colorful or strong, what I would call brick voices that cut through no matter who all's around them. These guys have these voices that just seem to meld very well and go with any of the other instrumentation that's happening around it. And because of the style of music that they're doing, it really works for them, and it's just right. It really is just right. So let's continue on. Let's get to Asia. The title track, and like I said, this is one that I have heard before, and I'm looking forward to getting another shot at it. So Donald based this song on a Korean woman named Asia, who was the wife of his friend's brother. And he says the song is about the tranquility that can come from a quiet relationship with a beautiful woman. Gotcha. And it's got those famous solos, right? We're going to get to hear these solos from Wayne Shorter and from Steve Gadd. And they didn't play on the last track. So who's playing on this one? Donald Fagen comes back. He's on lead vocals and synths. Steve Gadd is now our drummer. Chuck Rainey is our bassist. We've got Larry Carlton, Walter Becker, and Denny Diaz on guitars. Joe Sample is on the Fender Rhodes. Michael Omartian is on the piano. Victor Feldman is on percussion and marimba. Wayne Shorter is on the tenor saxophone. And Timothy B. Schmidt is in as a backing vocalist. Let's get to it, y'all. This is the title track. It's Asia from Steely Dan. Off we go. just sharp 11 and everything in there.
People never stand. They just don't care.
Amazing. There's the marimba. Low marimba.
Chinese music under banyan tree. Here at the Dude Ranch above the sea. Asia, when all my dime dancing is through, I run to you.
Yadam. Hear that half step resolve down, and then it resolves down by half step again.
Up on the hill, they've got time to
Just
burn.
for now, really simple backing percussion,
Turn.
just very light.
Double helix in the sky tonight.
Then the chorus comes back, but they're different words.
Let's do it right.
Turns to a 7.
Asia, when all my dime dancing is through, I run.
When all my dime dancing is through, I run to you. Hey. Should I? Or bring it back when it's more rhythmic later on. Went down a step. And the bass and the drums are not overpowering this texture, y'all. When they do that, it allows for a more even feel so that all of these instruments can really join this sound. Down by half step again. Goes down to G, F sharp. A. Half step. Pay attention, kids. Step. Crazy, crazy planing. shards of this that I hear that they've done before, but it's so hard to figure out what they're actually doing. It's hard to make sense of them. Sounds like the beginning. That's a B.
Up on the hill, they think I'm okay, or so they say.
Love how all of the instrumentation just fits in right where they need to be. It's like having a painter with 8 different arms, you know, with everybody providing the right brushstroke at the right time.
Sound good to me. Asia, when all my time dancing is through, I run to you.
Okay, we're not done, y'all. Crunchy chords from the piano really help this. Not that Steve needs any help. It's just a static chord. Dun, dun. All there's some eerie stuff coming up on top of that. That's cool. But they're going to fade out as Steve plays this out. It's a remarkable piece of music, isn't it? It really, really is. Like I said, I only know enough jazz to be dangerous. I've never actually really studied jazz in an intensive environment. I know some of the voicings. I know some of the the aesthetics and the techniques, but it's just not a place where I have set up a sandbox and had a lot of fun. But I can tell you this: they're using what we would call extended tertian chords. Tertian meaning chords stacked in thirds. So here's what I'm talking about. You have a basic triad. Let's take C, everybody's favorite, C major, right? So you've got a root and a third and a fifth. You can invert these from there to first inversion to second inversion, and then it goes back to root position, right? Take a seventh. Okay, that's the dominant seventh. You now have root position, first inversion, second inversion, and now third inversion. Cool? You're just changing which member of that chord is the bass note. Well, when you start stacking, you got a root, third, fifth, seventh. You start to stack another third, ninth. That's a D in that C chord. Okay? What happens if I start stacking, restacking those? Well, I get to there. No. Then I get you start running into problems when you have a chord that has a member that is specifically higher than an octave over your root. You really lose the ability to have inversions, y'all, because that ninth has to be that distance above the bass, or separated by an octave. But at least it's not a second. It's got to be a ninth or an octave and a ninth, right? And so what ends up happening when you get these chords, what were they up to? I kept hearing that B minor, like B minor 9. The minor seventh chords and the extensions are some fun stuff. Think about that chord. You've got a root and a fifth perfect fifth. You go up to the third, you've got another perfect fifth above it. You've got two perfect fifths. Really sturdy chord in that minor seventh. And what happens is that you get to the seventh. In this instance, I'm playing a B minor seventh chord. Have a B in the bottom, you get an A. The notes that are above it end up being consonant to that seventh of the chord. There's the B, there's an A. I can have an E, right? Then an E is a dissonant fourth, but when you stack it with a B chord and you link it to that fifth of the A, it ends up sounding consonant, like an extended consonant, because it's connected there. And then that A connects down to here. So you can have a bass way up here, and you can, like if the bass player's playing a B, down there, I might play F sharp minor 7 up here as a rhythm player, because I know the bass player's got the bass. I just need to fill in the fun parts. I might put a crunch in there, you know, to add the B somewhere in the chord, but I can have all those notes above it. If I put them right next to it, they all run into seconds, right? So you need to space them out, and you have an open fifth maybe. You got your seventh, you can have your fifth on there. And the color just comes from where you add the seconds and where those happened, right? They were having these major seventh chords as well, major ninth chords. Great sound. Take this. This is A major, A, C sharp, E, G sharp. Just like the minor seventh chord, you've got a perfect fifth and a perfect fifth. Two perfect fifths in that chord. Really stable. And then you can end up with some really cool sounds. You can stack the ninth. It comes in as a consonant third above that seventh. Even though that seventh is a major seventh above the A, then you can start, you know, woo, that's wrong. There, that sounds a little bit, a little pull, but I can, that's where we end up getting a sharp 11. A, C sharp, E, G sharp. What's a perfect fifth above the G sharp? A D sharp. A D sharp is not an A's key, but it could really be a lovely bit because it's tied to that interval, and you fill it in. I'm just maybe playing E major 7 above an A, right? So that's how you can end up stacking these different seemingly triads against each other, but when you space them right, you end up with really sophisticated voicings. And when you get higher than an octave, you have to be careful because you can't do inversions. It just doesn't work. For hundreds of years, people have been trying to figure out how to make chords that are specifically taller than an octave be able to be inverted, and it doesn't work well. It's just the science of the way that the intervals work together. So that's a little bit on extended voicings versus voicings that are less than an octave. Seventh chords, great. You can invert them all you want. You get to ninth chords, you get to 11th chords, you get to 13th chords. The bass note is the root, no matter what it is, because that's just functionally what ends up happening. And I wish that I knew more of what they're doing in all of the little the progressions themselves and the voicings. It would be great to have some sheet music to see really how they're doing it, that we could learn something for sure from that. But I've been talking too long, y'all. Let's finish out side one. We've got Deacon Blues to hear from, and Donald Fagen said that many people have assumed that this song is about a guy in the suburbs who ditches his life to become a musician. In truth, he says, I'm not sure the guy actually achieves his dream. He might not even play the horn. It's a fantasy life. It is the fantasy life of a suburban guy. So it's about this suburbanite's fantasy of becoming a great saxophone player, but I don't think he actually is. But we'll see how this goes. Y'all, Donald Fagen is back with us on lead vocals and synths. Walter Becker is on the bass this time. Bernard Purdy is on the drums. Wow, great drummers. Larry Carlton, Lee Rittenauer are on guitars. Victor Feldman on Fender Rhodes. Pete Kreislieb is on tenor sax. Dean Park is on acoustic guitar. And our backing vocalists are back. Clyde King, Shirley Matthews, and Vanetta Fields. So this is Deacon Blues, and I'm looking forward to being reacquainted with this one. And let's get it to it. What am I saying? Let's get to it, y'all. Deacon Blues from Steely Dan. Off we go. More of these sophisticated sounds. Check that
This
out.
is the day of the expanding man. That shape is my shame.
Major 7
There
chords.
where I used to stand.
Now that's a dominant, and then it goes where it's not
seems
supposed to.
like only yesterday I gazed through the glass at ramblers, wild gamblers. That's all in the past. You call me a fool. You say it's a crazy scheme. This one's for real. I already bought the dream. So useless to ask me why.
Les
Throw a
Soldos.
kiss and say goodbye. I'll make it this time.
Throw a kiss and say goodnight. I'll make it this time. I'm ready to cross that fine line.
Learn to work the saxophone.
Just gotta learn to play the saxophone.
I play just what I feel. Drink Scotch whiskey all night long. And die behind the
wheel.
They got a name for the winners in the world.
Okay.
I want a name when I lose.
I want a name when I
They call
lose.
Alabama the Crimson
Call Alabama the Crimson Tide.
Call me Deacon Blues.
Yeah, call me Deacon Blues. That's what he wants his name to be. Okay, that makes sense. Now, is he Jake and Elwood's brother? Is he getting the band back together?
My back to the wall, a victim of laughing chance. This is for me, the essence of true romance. Sharing the
Pretty.
things
So
we know
pretty.
and love with those of my kind. Libation, sensation, that stagger the mind. I crawl like a viper through these.
So the saxophone gets to play some of those color notes over those extended
Make love to
voicings.
women, languid and bitter.
So buttery.
I'll rise when the sun goes down, cover every game in town. A world of my own. I'll make it my home, sweet home. Learn to work the saxophone. I play just what I feel. Drink Scotch whiskey all night long. And die behind the wheel. They got a name
That's an
for the
A
winners
down
in
to
the
E.
world. I want a name
It lands on C major 7.
they call
It goes down by another whole step. Then to A, then to G, then to F,
Call me Deacon Blues.
then E, and then up to A. So it's mostly using the chords from. Not anymore. I was gonna say A minor, but they're not there very long. It's gonna harmonic progressions that I haven't even thought of as being possible. You know? So these are progressions that I largely haven't studied. I'm just trying to keep up. But it's so well put together. Sue me if I play too long. This brother is free. I'll be what I want to be. In your dreams, be anything, y'all.
Call me Deacon Blues, Deacon
I gotta go back to school, y'all. I gotta figure all of these extended voicings out. To figure out why they work so darn well. It's when notes that we expect to be dissonances somehow work as consonances, and it makes our musical ears realize that we're in new territory. It's like, wait a minute, there's something effervescent and just buoyant and different about this sound than what we're accustomed to. They're not like other people. How is that happening? That's how it's happening, is they're turning these melodies and sounds that with the bass normally would be something that needs to resolve, something that's not at rest, and they fill in the voicings in the middle that magically connect these discordant sounds and bring them into consonance and rest with us. And it's like, how did that happen? It's like when a mosaic comes together and you see the bigger picture, or a puzzle, lots of puzzle pieces come together and you see what they were all trying to make in coordination with all the other pieces, right? You don't see what it actually, and hear what it actually means until you get everything together. It doesn't work with any of those parts pulled out. It's really fascinating, isn't it? Loved it. I definitely can't keep up with them harmonically, especially by ear. But that would be fun to see with a score, y'all. And I can't wait to get to side 2, because I don't know. Hang on, I need to look up. I didn't do this in my read-in. Asia, Steely Dan. Okay, there you are. It's the steeliest Dan of them all. What songs are on side 2? Have I heard any of these? Peg, Home at Last, I Got the News, and Josie. None of those sound familiar to me. It looks like Peg and Josie were singles, maybe? But I don't think I've heard those. So we'll get to side 2, y'all. I'm not going to do it today, but we'll get to it, and I'm really pumped to get there, so it won't be too long. Let me leave you today with this. I found a quote from a British musician and producer named Andy Gill, and he says that jazz rock was a fundamental part of the 70s musical landscape. And Steely Dan wasn't a rock band. They weren't a pop band. It wasn't a pop or rock music with ideas above its station, and it was not jazzers just kind of slumming. It was a very well-forged alloy of the two. You could not separate the pop music from the jazz in their music. That's what I was talking about. It's so well integrated. If you ask me, is that jazz? I would say yes. If you ask me, is that pop music? I would say yes. And like, how can that be true at the same time? Because I heard it, and they did it, and I don't know if I've heard anybody else do it as well as that. Really sublime sounds. And y'all, this came out the year that I was born. So 47 years later, it's as fresh as it ever has been. It still sounds completely new and completely unique compared to everything else that's out there. And it just goes to show you just the raw talent and sophistication musically of Donald and Walter. Yeah, I forgot his name. Sorry, Walter. But I think they're putting together all of these songs, and I'm pretty sure they've charted everything, and they're expecting their musicians to play exactly what they have written down and charted for them. Similar to Frank Zappa, the way that he treated his wonderful musicians. And it was just a pleasure to sit in the chair here and have all of these great sounds come over me. And like I said, I can't wait to get to side 2, but I will, y'all. So we'll do that in a few weeks. But today we have listened to side 1 of Asia from Steely Dan, and I am a better person for it. Thank y'all for suggesting this album and getting on me to get back to music from Steely Dan. I enjoyed myself immensely. I hope you did as well. That is all for today and this week, my friends. Thank you very much for being with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily